tuning in to the Illuminations Podcast. We love having you here. It is our mission to be a beacon of light on your journey towards conscious and mindful living. In our weekly episode, we bring you inspiring change makers in the field of spirituality, healing, personal growth, and wellness who share their insight and expertise so you can navigate your way to a happier, healthier, and more purposeful life. What if I told you that adding years to your life, or just feeling fit, healthy, and happy, does not require you to spend hours in the gym or follow extreme diets, which may not always work? What if the key to longevity and mental clarity and feeling good is something that you can start doing in just 11 minutes in a day? Well, my guest today is here to change the way you think about movement, health, and wellness. I'm so excited to welcome Lavina Mehta MBE, award-winning personal trainer, wellness coach, and best-selling author of The Feel Good Fix. Lavina's mission is to make fitness simple, accessible, and something you can actually enjoy. She's been honored by the Queen with an MBE for her work in health and fitness, and today she's sharing the science-backed exercise snacking trick that's helping thousands feel stronger, live longer, and boost their energy without spending hours and hours working out. So if you struggled with motivation, if you feel like you don't have time for exercise, or if you feel you just want to feel good in your body again, in this episode with Lavina, stick around because by the end of this episode, you will understand how a simple 11-minute practice can transform your health, why traditional fitness advice is broken, and what actually works these days, and how to prevent aging, fatigue, and stress with small improvements. The biggest wellness myths that keep people stuck, struggling, and following things which are not really that sustainable. So let's dive in our next exciting episode on the Illuminations World Podcast with Lavina Mehta. So Lavina, welcome today on the Illuminations World Podcast. It's so lovely having you here all the way from the UK.
Thank you so much for having me. So exciting to be here with you.
I'm in the company of a best-selling author, so I feel very, very excited right now. Aww. So Lavina, tell me, how did you start your journey? Because everybody usually has a personal story which puts them on the path to health and wellness, and I'd love to hear yours.
Yes, quite an interesting story. Let's just say that I wasn't really into fitness or exercise, and I probably never imagined I would be qualified as a personal trainer at the age of 40. I'm now 46, soon to be 47. I'm born in the UK, and that's obviously where I live. But being South Asian, especially, I felt like we probably didn't have much education or awareness about the importance of lifestyle changes, of exercise, nutrition. All the things that now I'm trying to share with the world. And it was really only in my 30s. So I actually had a global project management role. So in my early 20s, I was in the corporate world after studying management. I was, in quite a demanding role in the city of London, but traveling the world. And I guess in those days, I really wasn't focusing on wellness. I was very skinny and slim. Now I talk less about how exercise makes you look. I'm trying to reframe everyone to think about all the incredible magic that happens inside. And you probably heard my motto is to exercise for sanity, not vanity. Mm-hmm. But I understand, obviously, we do need to try and maintain a healthy weight. But in those days, I was so skinny and I didn't really invest any time apart from ticking the boxes at school, just doing the regular sports that I had to. And then it was in my 30s. So I'm a mum to 3 boys and my youngest is 17. And I literally put on a lot of weight after pregnancy. I was double my size. You may see very low down, on my Instagram handle, pictures of me before and after. I don't post them often because I think the transformation is so much more magical than just pictures these days. And then I fell in love with strength training when I joined the gym. I was before that just doing lots of different classes. But it's when I got my own personal trainer and I'd never lifted anything but, my suitcase when I was traveling. But strength training transformed not just me physically, but most importantly, mentally. And I think through life's challenges, through all the things that we go through personally, like grief. I was very close to my late father-in-law, who we lost very suddenly to a brain tumor, and we all lived together as a joint family. And it was experiences like that that really got this motto, because I would go and lift weights and I would just focus on that present moment, and it gave me strength, not just physically but mentally, to deal with life. And I requalified as a personal trainer just out of my own interest, not even thinking it would be a career, or I'd be sitting with you right now, or have written the book or anything. But I feel like in my 40s, I have really found like my passion and purpose in life.
Wow.
Yeah, so a little bit of my journey. There's obviously, lots of little gaps there, but
and then you went on from being a personal trainer to writing a book. How did that happen?
Yeah, so I sat the exams for the to become a fitness instructor and then a personal trainer, like I was saying, just to learn about the science behind exercise. And some friends started finding out that I was being qualified, and some ladies asked me to train them. So I had a little space in my home basement, which is now, like a fully equipped gym. And I started training women from the age of 30 to about 70, like lots of different goals, not just weight loss, things like mobility and strength, and just mentally they wanted to get feeling good about themselves. And that was before the pandemic. And I didn't realize it would be so much demand for a safe space in, a home environment, because the gym can be so daunting, especially for women.
Right.
I then had like a waiting list of women. I used to do it during the school hours, like straight from drop off, to pick up time. And it was around 2018 that I started researching more, and I found this concept, exercise snacking. And if people don't know what exercise snacking is, it's not eating while you're moving, but it's more the science behind short, bite-sized amounts of movement. I'm talking as short as a few seconds, even a minute.
Oh, wow.
And the more that we do through the day, it's as effective, if not more effective, than the hour-long workout, the longer type workout. So we struggle to fit into our busy lives. When I found that out, I just thought, this is a game changer, not just for me as a busy mom, starting off a new career. And I wanted to share it with the world. So I did an advent calendar. I opened up social media and I just picked up Feel Good with Lavina as my handle, because my mom, very similar to me, she's my true inspiration. She actually did the science behind food, and she ended up writing 2 books.
Oh, wow.
As a, she was a housewife for years. She never also thought she would have a career in the food industry. And her last book was called Feel Good with Food, which I typed up when my youngest son, when I was pregnant, so 17 years ago. And I picked Feel Good with Lavina, and I started doing exercise snacks as an advent calendar, just literally 1 minute, few minutes in the park or in the supermarket, like all at different places. And it got a lot of interest that I ended up being on Sky News on Christmas. And at that point, I thought, I've got to try and help as many people as I possibly can and get maximum reach and engagement. So I put myself out on social media. I'm very honest and genuine and real, no filters. And it's just grown from then the pandemic hitting, and I decided to grab my husband and youngest son. And I said, I want to do something to keep people moving, to boost their immunity, and just to help them mentally through this. So we went out in the garden and we were doing little exercise snacks on, on different platforms, on socials. And I never realized so many people would want to join. We did an evening structured program, and then you may have seen the workouts. I then asked my dear mother-in-law, who's in her 70s, who was very camera shy, and it's created such an amazing bond with my, she's my mother-in-law. A lot of people think she's my mom. She's still my mom, but we never had that bond over exercise. And now she's able to we do weekly sessions still from the beginning of the pandemic to now. They're all safe. So anyone watching or listening, head over to my YouTube channel. We've had up to the age of 100 join. There's a lot of seated options, low impact options. I want to make exercise accessible to everyone. You could be at home in your pajamas. You could be on the sofa. You could be working behind your desk, because we know people are sitting for 10 to 12 hours a day these days. So it's just about breaking down the barriers to movement, like normally cost time and motivation. And then I got awarded an MBE, like you mentioned, which is still very surreal.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. In the pandemic. And then since then, I kind of have become an ambassador for a lot of charities. So Diabetes UK, Alzheimer's Society, Wellbeing of Women. And I've also been sharing my perimenopause journey, and I'm a part of a big campaign group in the UK with a lot of celebs and influencers, well-known faces, some women that we're all trying to raise awareness around women's health, especially to support women through the perimenopause, menopause, and beyond.
Wow, that's amazing. And how does exercise snacking help women who are, in perimenopause or menopause?
So I think some of the common symptoms and things that, even I've been through, and I started my perimenopause when I was around 39 or 40, which is in line with the research. I always like to point out that South Asian women will probably go through the menopause 5 or 6 years earlier than the average white woman. So there's lots of cultural and ethnicity differences, and we need lots more research on women's health. Right. But things that I've gone through, like brain fog, that really scared me because my grandmother had Alzheimer's. And now, when I saw the changes in the brain as your estrogen levels start declining, the changes in your brain actually start in your midlife. Dementia we think of as an older person's disease, but there's so much we can do with our lifestyle and movement to help reduce our risks. I had anxiety, which I never experienced. And now, in my book, I've done a lot of research. Everything is backed by science, but even the alarming and very saddening statistics around how much women will go through mental health issues. It's about 70% of women in the menopause will have experienced something, whether it's a mood change to severe depression. I started feeling anxiety, which I never really had felt before. And even the lack of sleep, I think that affects so many women. And I just kind of put it down to starting a new career, being a mom, like the challenges we all have. But all of these symptoms, there's science-backed tools, and everything in my book is for free. Right. I have things as short as a minute to the magic 11 minutes. Right. And the beauty of exercise snacking is that even if you did a minute, so I like to piggyback onto existing habits. So you'll see me on social media telling everyone to brush their teeth while they're balancing on one leg. Because the ability to stand on one leg is one of the biggest signs of predictors of your longevity. To when the kettle's boiling, maybe throwing in some press-ups against the wall or the counter, to doing some squats or something uplifting, like just a few seconds of star jumps or a bit of boxing. You can see me getting moving already. To even just simple stretches, mobility, like something more self-care based that can really help, like to bring down cortisol levels, to try and balance your blood sugar levels. It can improve your mood. We know that movement is an antidepressant, like exercise really releases those feel-good endorphins, and you often feel that after seconds. So I just want us to know that there's so many things, obviously I mentioned in the book, even things like hot flushes, which are, stereotypically one of the most common menopause symptoms. The research that I did shows that moderate intensity aerobic exercise, so for me, walking is like my therapy out in nature. I've done a whole section on nature for all of its incredible benefits to our mental health. But, I'm saying go out for like a 5-minute, what I call feel-good walk, to actually help to banish the brain fog, to lift your mood, to boost your energy. It's, I think, a challenging time of life where 1 in 4 women will go through the menopause and maybe not experience any of these symptoms. And we hear a lot about a growing list of symptoms. And 1 in 4 will have debilitating symptoms. And I was probably in the middle, but I've really researched and I've lived and breathed all the tools. And it's a very flexible approach. So the book is like a third on this exercise snacking. Then I also have the mind snack. So everything around things like breath work, like gratitude, like journaling, all backed by science. It takes a minute to reset your nervous system. Like when I found that out, I was thinking, I wasn't really able to fit in long meditations in my in my sort of lifestyle. But just now I have a toolkit of a different few snacks, like in the book. There's like QR codes to videos to help people. But you probably know a lot about breath work, that we can literally, the power of our breath, right? Can calm down put you into parasympathetic nervous system. Absolutely. It's also feeling good for life. So I talk about it as overall quite holistic approach. With our sleep, our stress management, our food is so important, like nourishing your body.
And I think once you start and then you stop, you realize how impactful it actually is.
Yeah.
Because there are just those days, like if you're on a flight or if you're traveling and you don't do the gratitude or the breath work or the walk, and then you see the before and after and you see the difference and you're just like, I just feel off today. And,
exactly.
So it becomes more of a necessity rather than just a luxury.
For me, like I was saying to someone earlier, that just walking has become a non-negotiable. I know that is, like I said, therapy to me, but the same with strength training. I really want anyone listening or watching this, men and women, so especially women from the age of 30, we start losing our muscle mass and our bone density. And for me, it's about health span versus lifespan. So how we can live the most independent, fulfilling, healthiest life, as disease-free as we can.
Absolutely.
But women, from the age of 30, if you can start younger, but then equally, I've had up to 100. I have them regularly, 70, 80, 90-year-olds, and I want more and more people to join us every week. They show that it's never too late. And even over the age of 65, 1 minute of exercise is actually going to give you great health benefits. Obviously, the more the better, but I just want people to start.
And so is exercise snacking mainly for people who don't work out? Like, let's just say, for example, I work out 4 times a week. I'm at the gym, or I do Pilates, and I'm walking like 10,000 steps a day.
Great.
How would exercise snacking help me above what I'm doing? Or is it just a replacement if I don't have the time or the energy or the ability?
I want you to carry on doing all the amazing things that you said you're doing, but the research shows, and I call them active couch potatoes. I've done a section of this on the book. So imagine you are getting your workout in the gym done at 7 a.m. or you could be the 5 a.m. club, really productive. Most people are now sitting for 10 hours a day. Like for us, even now, after 30 minutes, there's a little alarm now in my body that has to do a couple of minutes. And that's based on the latest research. If you sit for 2 hours, it can negate 20 minutes of exercise.
Wow.
So even for the people that get that amazing workout, which is so beneficial to you, and I want you to carry that on, it would be amazing if you could add in regular movement breaks through your day. Ideally every 30 minutes. That's even latest research on type 1 diabetics, which is very breakthrough, because we know that type 2 diabetes can be reversed through exercise and lifestyle changes. To just our back health, all I hear about is we are more sedentary. A lot of people, especially in the UK, are working from home. It's probably the same here, with lots of people maybe stuck on virtual meetings back to back. I go into companies, from being in the corporate world, I now go into companies and try and explain, let's get our employees happier and healthier by having a little bit of an exercise snack to kick off your meeting, or a little break after the back-to-back virtual meetings, right? So I would encourage everyone to snack. And the way that it works is that you're boosting each time you do a bit of movement, even if it's a minute, you're going to boost your metabolism. So it's going to help with, weight loss, if that's your goal. It's going to help with your blood pressure, your cholesterol, like the key indicators of health. It's going to regulate your blood sugar levels. And we know that, especially during midlife, you become more insulin resistant. So I've been using this as a tool. I know when my blood sugar levels are fluctuating through the day, that it impacts my mood, my energy, my productivity, my brain, everything. But knowing that, if I just get my squats in, or if I just do a simple stretch even, and just tune into my breath, the benefits are so incredible that thank you for getting me on your platform, because for me, if it helps one person a day, that's like my mission. Obviously, I'd love to help the world globally, but I hope anyone listening just realizes that even a minute counts on those days that maybe you can't get in the longer workout as well.
And what's the biggest myth about the health and wellness industry that people still believe about fitness or health?
Tell me here, like, do you think women are fearful of lifting weights? They may feel like they're going to get bulky, or do you think strength training has become more acceptable for women?
I think people are gaining a lot more awareness about strength training because of the lack, of the whole understanding that you lose muscle after a certain age. So I think that definitely plays an important role. But I feel people do still have this sort of impression of, like I'll get bulky, or maybe even yoga is better for me because it doesn't involve weights, or it won't, So that sometimes I feel people still have that sort of misconception at some point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've written a whole section in detail about the importance of strength training, and it's not just for our muscle mass, which starts declining, our bone density, so to reduce risk of things like osteoporosis. The more muscle you have, the more it's going to help balance those blood sugar levels. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. So maybe that's the bit, that especially in midlife, women do accumulate weight around especially the abdomen, the belly area. I've called it the menopause in the book. And it's a real challenge. It's like as your estrogen levels start declining in perimenopause, which is, up to 10 years before you hit the menopause. And it obviously varies between each woman. Everyone's journey is so different. You're not going to bulk up. And ideally, you start off, just with your body weight. I do a lot of yoga as well. I love yoga. But I would encourage women to start lifting weights, and you progressively overload. There's technique to it. We haven't got enough testosterone to bulk up. And if you look at my social media, I lift like heavy weights, and I'm pretty petite. But it's so empowering, even for me mentally. It just makes me feel like strong body and mind.
And what if, like, for example, like you're working all day, you haven't slept well at night? Would you advise to go to the gym and lift on those days? Because that could potentially increase your cortisol levels, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because the body, they say the body does not know the difference between
the stress,
all types of stress, right? So whether it's physical or whether it's mental, it's an excessive overload on the body and the nervous system. So how would you sort of navigate through that better?
It's always about staying in tune and listening to your body. And that's why I have quite a holistic approach. So I call it a feel-good fitness prescription. So strength training is one part to it. Cardio, a little bit less, I would say, high impact. Like gone are the days in my 30s, 20s, that you would probably have the hour-long class where, your cortisol level is going to get such a pounding, right? I'm talking like a minute, even 20 seconds. There's 4 seconds of hit. And you may have seen me, like just marching on my feet, even now, boxing, just adding in something to raise my heart rate, my mood and everything. But I'm talking about hit snacks is a lot nicer on your joints. We hear about joint pain and bones and everything, but it's still beneficial. And then another key component is stretch and mobility. So on the days where you haven't slept well, I would not advise you to do something strenuous. I want you to listen to your body. If it's just literally a whole section on self-care snacks that I call, I feel especially as women where we're always caring for others, it's about hopefully prioritizing your own self-care and finding tools, like be it like we talked about the power of journaling. That's something that I've been doing since the pandemic. And when I started researching the science behind gratitude, journaling, it is incredible. Taking a few minutes to just maybe go out in nature and maybe just sit and breathe and go for a little gentle stroll, do a gentle stretch. Like there's obviously lots of little other types of things, from self-massage, just running a bath or phoning a friend, or just there's lots of other tools that you can do. It's not just exercise that I promote, but more of like this holistic approach, which I think you are doing so brilliantly here.
Absolutely. And so you've worked with thousands of clients. What is one miraculous transformation that you witnessed that stands out from everything that you've done?
Oh my gosh, wow. Oh, just one. There's so many incredible stories. This is where I feel, when I get the feedback from people, that's what motivates me to carry on this path that I've just been put on. From my mother-in-law, seeing her reverse her, not just type 2 diabetes, which we've reversed, her osteoporosis. She was unable to reach, had really bad swelling knee issues a year ago, which she was going to get operated on, but she's worked on it. She's been exercise snacking, strengthening her knees, doing it every day, and touch wood, she's in an amazing position. And how
did you
now
motivate her at first? Like, what was the sort of way to get her motivated? Because when people are older, it's harder to it's harder for them to change the way they think when they're so used to a certain 100%. Lifestyle.
So for her, even just joining me on camera was such a, she was very camera shy. I mean, so was I. Now I just talk to the camera as if it's like a friend, and it's a community that I've built. But I've always said, because we're actually Jain, so our religion is all about like non-violence, about treating people how you want to be treated, like a way of life. So I always say to Mummy that, my mother-in-law, that you're helping so many people just by people seeing her next to me. The elderly relate, right? They can see someone that is seated and doing things maybe that they can do on the sofa from the comfort of their homes. So her motivation has definitely been like mine. It's the most rewarding part is when I know that I've been able to help someone. And I think, just stories from even like during the pandemic, I used to have people message me that I remember even one of the ladies that I trained, actually, she was in her 70s and she couldn't lift her arm up and she really wanted to play golf, and she was restricted just by her upper body movement. But by strengthening that shoulder area, she got her mobility and her confidence back, and it's improved her quality of life. She's carrying her golf clubs on golf courses now. Amazing. To like younger people who are struggling, right? Just even the stress levels, the mental health issues. Being a mum, I worry about sort of the environment that, our next generation are facing with technology, social media. Absolutely. Like we're just constantly on the go all the time. So I talk about social media snacking as well as like an approach that I've had to embody myself, because I basically am a one-woman roadshow on social media, but I never realized it would grow to this amazing community. But you have to almost have those breaks, right? Where you have to give your brain and your mental downtime as well. So I kind of snack on social media and social connection. Like out of all the things I research, even from food to movement.
That is one of the most important.
It's the most important thing you have for a happy, healthy life. And like just if it's even an online community, even if it's a set of friends or just someone that you can talk to,
like a support system or your safe space.
Share our journeys and our experiences. I think that's so important.
And what about diet? What role does what you eat play in this? Because a lot of the elderly, when they look at the younger generation, we're just like gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and then we have all these alternatives. And I know, like, for example, people of our grandparents' age, like, look at us and they laugh and they're like, we just eat everything in moderation and we're okay. So what was your perspective on that in terms of the exercise snacking along with the diet? Are you like really big on diet, or is it like stress, for example? Because I find today people stress so much about what they eat and what they consume. And I find sometimes, the more you stress about what you're eating, it's the stress that actually creates more health issues than actually just trying to stay balanced in moderation and see, everything. Even, for example, it's like the 80-20 rule, right? So 20% you allow yourself to kind of just indulge.
I'm a huge foodie because of my mum. She's the chef, cookery writer. Food is my pleasure. Like I probably eat double the amount than my husband. I don't believe in restriction. I definitely, 80% of the time I am very much I love cooking myself. Right. So I really want to encourage people to have less processed home cooked food. For me, I learned so much, obviously from my mum's approach, but the Mediterranean diet is very similar to my approach. It's about eating this diversity, so to feed our gut microbiome. It's maybe eating the rainbow is what I say, so try and have colorful plates. Protein is something that has definitely helped me, not just with building muscle mass, but with also just less binging. It makes you feel more satiated. So protein always is a big focus in my meals. I'm vegetarian, by the way, so there are good protein sources being vegetarian, and fiber is so important. We now, luckily, people are talking about hitting 30 grams of fiber, but just so much from fruits, vegetables, staying hydrated, but it's about balance. So I don't believe in restriction, just as I don't believe in now, you may see the pictures of me when I qualified with a 6-pack and, they went around media everywhere on press and everything. Now I've written about in the menopause transition that it's not even about reframing, that it's not about how we look. Don't try and aspire to have that 6-pack. I feel that can be more detrimental, that, it's just not achievable at this point in life. But let's think about how we're going to age well, how we're going to stay independent, how we can future-proof our bodies, and how we can reduce so many of those common chronic illnesses. And that's why 11 minutes a day, even if you snack on like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, there's lots of options in the book, over 80 there. 11 minutes a day can reduce 1 in 10 premature deaths, 1 in 20 cases of cardiovascular disease, and 1 in 30 cases of some cancers. And when I saw that, I was like, 11 minutes is so much more achievable than the government guidelines, which is almost double that.
And people just get overwhelming and daunting. It's daunting, especially for people who work so much and don't have the privilege or the liberty or freedom to be able to invest in their exercise. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for your amazing knowledge and wisdom. So for people listening, if there was one action that they can take after listening to this episode, what would it be? Something simple.
Please start exercise snacking.
And read the book.
Yeah, this is, the book, The Feel Good Fix. Thank you.
Is available.
It's for men, it's for women, it's for everyone, children, like grandparents. Move more, sit less. And this is the healthiest type of snacking around. That's hopefully I've convinced you. Just start off small. And find things that you enjoy. I think that's the most important. There's not a set prescription, but hopefully you'll feel the benefits. And, from all the science and the research that's out there, it is just so powerful. So even just start with 1 minute. If you just do some sit and stands, get up 10 times, don't even call them squats, or do some press ups, in the kitchen when you're waiting for the kettle to boil. Amazing. Lots of different ideas, but happy snacking, everyone.
I will remember you the next time I do that.
You better tag me on social media.
I absolutely will. Lavina, thank you so much for being on the Illuminations World Podcast and sharing all your amazing knowledge and wisdom. And I do encourage people to tune into your YouTube. They can follow you on Instagram, and they can buy the book, The Feel Good Fix. So thank you, everyone, for listening in and tuning into the Illuminations World Podcast. If you like this episode, share, subscribe, and spread the love and light. Until next time, take care and live light. Thanks for tuning in to the Illuminations Podcast. We love having you here. It is our mission to be a beacon of light on your journey towards conscious and mindful living. In our weekly episode, we bring you inspiring change makers in the field of spirituality, healing, personal growth, and wellness who share their insight and expertise so you can navigate your way to a happier, healthier, and more purposeful life.